So that was actually me playing with one finger and my thumb, and it's a little bit sort of closer to the way Mississippi John Hurt plays it. I've never been very good at mimicking people, so I don't try anymore. One time I would spend lots of time trying to figure out note for note, nuance for nuance, but I find that I would just pretty much forget it pretty quickly and end up doing it my own way, more or less by accident. So, but there's still value in doing it, especially when you're starting out. You can learn things from people that you may like and want to incorporate into your own individual style. So it's definitely a valuable exercise. In any case, what we're going to do today, we studied the bass lines last time. So today I was going to start working on some exercises that will help you to incorporate the melody into the bass line playing. And I think we'll use one finger, even though when I'm playing, I usually use two, sometimes three fingers. And eventually, I think it's easier to use two fingers to do certain things. But people like Reverend Gary Davis and others use just one finger. So you can get a lot done with one finger. But I also think it helps simplify the process of the initial learning of how to play melodies. So we'll do one finger. A lot of times the second finger is just kind of, or the first finger is actually just playing like little grace notes or whatever you want to call them, little ornamentation things. And they're not even super necessary. They just add a little style to them. You can still play the melody and get a lot done with just one finger. The other thing I'll say is that we should be playing with a metronome. Right now I'm recording with my phone and my metronome's on my phone, but in later lessons I'll work out something so we have a metronome playing. But you want to do the metronome. If you don't know what a metronome is, it's just a timekeeping device. There are applications you can find on your iPhone or whatever smartphone you have. You can buy a standalone unit. You can buy the old school metronome that actually has an arm that ticks, and you put a counterweight on it that causes it to click faster. In any case, yeah, metronomes are important because time is important. Even if you think you have good time, invariably there are little things that come up in every song and everything that you do that you'll rush through or you'll slow down. So it's good to practice with the metronome. It keeps you honest. So I think the first thing to bring up in working on getting the melody to go with this bass line is to recognize that you're basically trying to initially get your fingers and your thumb to do two independent things, and then once you can do that, you try to get it so that they're working back together. You're sort of unwiring your brain to, if you're used to playing with a pick or doing something where your hand is doing one motion, it's a little bit like when a drummer has to learn to play with all four limbs, or a piano player has to use two hands. It's the same. It does the same sort of thing to your brain, where it kind of feels like it's pulling your brain apart. But then once you accomplish that, once you get it so that that no longer hurts your brain, then you can start working on getting them so they work seamlessly together as a unit. So you're sort of rewiring your brain, to start working that way. So as I said, we're going to start with one finger, but and on one string. But eventually, you're going to want to move to multiple strings and use multiple fingers. We're going to start with the C chord, that C shape, which is again really an E chord because we're capoed at the fourth fret. So this is an E, but it's that familiar C shape. And the bass line, when you assign to that, is the. Now, when you first start doing it, you may want to simplify the bass line to just go, if it helps you. But you'll find that with this exercise, it's a little too repetitive and kind of sort of misses the objective. So you're gonna want to try to get that going. So if you haven't gotten that already, you want to review episode 1, lesson 1. But this will help if you practice that for a quick moment. But then what you want to do is start playing the top string, the top E string, which right now is playing an A flat or G sharp. In the key of E, you'd call it a G sharp. So that G sharp you're going to want to hit on the downbeat initially. So when you're playing that bass pattern, I'll count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm subdividing into eighth notes because eventually we're going to play on each of those 8 beats. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So initially you're going to just hit on, you're just going to play the melody note, the E string, the open E, G sharp, on the downbeat. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you can either then I would probably just go to play on beat 2. That might be easier than trying to play on the upbeats, on the ands, on the and of each beat. But so maybe go to to beat 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll get you used to playing on something on all of the beats. And then, as I said, do the upbeats. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and. So obviously, if that's a problem, you're going to have to slow it down and be a little more deliberate about which beat you're playing the melody note on relative to what bass note is being played. So you can slow it way down and just, obviously the downbeat shouldn't be too hard. You're just simultaneously hitting the first beat. So do that until you're comfortable, and then recognize that if you're playing on beat 2, it's going to come simultaneously if you're hitting that G sharp, the 4th string, right? So you're going 5, 4, 6, 4. So on the second beat, when you hit that 4th string, you're going to be simultaneously hitting the melody note. So that's pretty straightforward. The ands of the beats may be a little more difficult, but you just have to, again, be deliberate about, slow it way down and just say 1 and 2. Maybe start with just the first 2 beats there. Get used to doing that, and then eventually complete the measure. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. And if you have the metronome, just set it real slow so that you can, like I said, be deliberate and and you can count along with it and you're not confusing yourself. Now, when you get that down, you can kind of make a little more of an exercise out of it by doing the complete set of 8 beats. So it would be something like this. It would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and. The next thing I would do is maybe try to incorporate 2 beats on that same string. So you something like 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. I think I did that right. So anyway, but you see the point. You see the exercise just is do beat 1 and then the and of 1, beat 2, beat 1, beat, and the and of 2. And you can work it out on paper, all of the different ways of doing it, because you could start on the and of 1 and then do beat 2, 1 and 2, 1. It's 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and then go on the and of 1 and then on beat on the end of 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And start on beat 2, start on the end of 2, start on beat 3, start on the end of 3, till you get to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So that'll pretty much, that exhausts all the different ways of playing one note, two beats of one note in a measure. And then eventually you're going to want to play another note. Like this just happens to be the first melody note. It doesn't just happen to be. I purposefully chose it because it's the first melody note of Let the Mermaids Flirt With Me. So if you, the next logical thing is to play that B note on the top string, on the first string, 3rd fret from the capo. So it goes on beat 1 and 2, beat 1 and beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can just practice doing that initially. And if you get bold, try to go forwards. You're switching to the G chord there, which brings up the next thing, which is you're going to want to do not just all that stuff that you did on the C chord, but do it on the other chords too, the G shape, which is the B chord. So then you can go to the G shape, which is that B chord, right? In that first measure, it goes for 2 beats on C and then 2 beats on G. So that you can just practice. So the bass string is, just like we taught in the first lesson, the bass line goes 6 string, 4 string, and the melody notes that are happening at the same time are this F sharp, A. So you can practice just doing that in isolation, hitting those 2 strings together, the B and the F sharp, and then the open D and the A. So that's, the 4th string and the 1st string. So it's 6th string and 5th string, 4th string and 1st string. So the first measure goes. So there you go. So that should get you started. And of course, do that same thing with the F chord. The thing I'll say about the F chord, or in this case, we're playing an A, but it's the F shape. On the initial video, the bassline video, I showed you where you play this. You may not actually end up playing that way when you start playing lots of melodies, because you're using up a lot of fingers to play that. You may end up just playing F, F through the whole bar, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or hitting the open A on the 5th string. So, or I call it an A, but it's really a C sharp. So it'd be 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4 with an open 5th string. So those are alternate bass lines for that F shape chord, the A chord. That's the one I showed you. But you can just play Fs or As. Or you can play with the open 5th string on the 3rd beat. Because when you finally get to that, playing all that, it becomes a little awkward to try and play that E in the middle. But you can still do it. You can do it. It would be. But it can be a little stiff and a little limiting. So by all means, simplify it by just playing the A's or leaving it or playing the open string on B3. So it'd be like. It's a little subtle, but I hit the open A there. The open C sharp. The open fifth string. So I think that's probably cool for this lesson. And then on the next lesson, I will get a little more into the actual melody. We got a little start on it, but I'll get deeper into the melody and maybe a little teaser on some variations. And then I'll probably have a fourth video where we get into more variations and some more compositional stuff. So anyway, all right. Check out the first video if you haven't. Check out Cromwell's Kitchen Concerts. You can check out episode 2 of Cromwell's Kitchen Concerts, which is this tune, Let the Mermaids Flirt With Me. And there are a bunch of others that you can check out. So thanks for listening, watching, and by all means like and or dislike if you have to. Comment, ask questions. By all means subscribe. And there's even a PayPal donation if you think it was worth it. And you can find that on the banner of my YouTube channel, also in the description of this video. So, all right, thanks.